Hey Bookaholic! So welcome back to another video. Today I am bringing you a chat about hard magic systems. I've done several of these magic systems videos in the past, so I will leave the playlist link down below. But today I figured that I would talk about hard magic systems. I've done soft, I've done moderate, and now we're on to hard. It's not a preference of mine. I kind of feel like the point of magic is that it has that which we do not understand, that which we don't perceive, see, whatever. So for me, it's a bit on the edge of whether or not I will enjoy it. So for me, I am going to talk about the ones that I have enjoyed. I've got one on here that I think improved, and then the rest of them are ones that I've liked, but I was picking from a very narrow pool. Now, I am not going to be talking about the really, really obvious ones, being obviously Sanderson, and also I've seen people put Rothfuss on there. He's got two magic systems. One of them could arguably be considered hard magic, if not like science magic. But yeah, I am not gonna go into those. They're not ones that I have strong opinions on, to be honest. And then there's another one that I have read but I despise, which is Lightbringer by Brent Weeks. So I'm not going to be talking about any of the most popular ones. So these are just some other ones that I'm going to dip into. So another one that is kind of very much from the Sanderson School of Magic, the Licanius series by James Islington. Help. This one has a hard magic system in the sense that it's got very specific rules and limitations and also consequences. Now, one of the things I do like about hard magic systems is when they have consequences. In this case, we do have it where the consequences can be quite severe and they are held in place and there is laws around it, and therefore the function within society is very specific, and we have different races of magical wielders and their abilities are also different. So we have almost two hard magic systems. They're interlinked, but we have them both in here, and what they can and can't do, what they are limited or not by, and what that means for their abilities. And it does go in depth throughout the series. It is a pivotal point of the series, is the magic system. Our protagonist is specifically defined by his magic. So there's a lot going on in here, both within the characters, the society, as well as the plot, that I think it was definitely the most noteworthy one when I was thinking of this list. I didn't love this first book that much, but I did enjoy the sequels more. So if you are looking for a hard magic system, I can't say with my full chest, yes, definitely go read this, because obviously you've got to read a whole chunking book that I didn't think was absolutely the best, but you might, like, especially if you're a hard magic fan, like, you're probably going to like this more than I did. One that I don't see on a lot of hard magic lists, and I'm not sure why, I guess because there were kind of two parts of the magic to this, but we have Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell on here by Susanna Clarke. This one has, like I said, two magic systems. We literally have, it is kind of like the Prestige in the sense if you've got two people who are competing against each other magically, and you have someone who is very rigid, very regimental, like it's books and studies, and it's like a science, you know, and he looks at it in that manner. And then we also have this other character who does it basically on intuition. So we do have both. I feel like it would still fit for fans of hard magic, because especially the character that we have that is very into the academic side of magic, it is exactly, I think, what we think of when we think of hard magic. Someone who studies it, who wants to know the bounds and the confines of it. And I think that matters in this book. It's a huge intrinsic part of the character as well as the plot. So for hard magic fans, I feel like this would be a good one. It's just that the writing style is an epic fantasy, and I know that people mostly associate epic fantasy with hard magic, but I would say give this one a shot, to be honest. One that I think it teeters on hard magic. Again, I had very limited pool to pull from here of interest. This one teeters. There are bits to it that I think go unexplained, but it is entirely possible that you could rationalize it as just the book hasn't bothered to explain them, not that there aren't confines and parameters, but there are a lot of things in here that are within confines and parameters, and that is the Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu. This one is steampunk as well, so we've got like mechanical things going on as well with the magic. I think that whenever you start to combine science and magic, it's always going to start leaning more towards hard magic, because to be able to make science out of magic, there needs to be confines and rules and understanding, otherwise it's just magic. I think that there are definitely confines to the magic, and there's definitely an explanation for most of it, but there are some things that I feel do go a bit unexplained, especially because we've got deity magic going on in here as well. I do have a whole video on deity magic. It's in the playlist. So there's more than one avenue, but there is definitely a sciencey side to it that I think should be taken into consideration when you're thinking of maybe picking up hard magic. And the last two that I have are kind of a cheat because they're more sci-fi than fantasy. Again, limited pool here, people, limited pool. But the first one that I have is Vicious by V. Schwab. This one is superhero sci-fi, basically, but this kind of counts as magic, right? Like superhero powers, they're sci-fi, they're magic, ipso facto. So in this one, we have people who, when they die and get resuscitated, they come back with magical abilities, with superhero powers. So there's a science to it because you have to die to come back. These two protagonists were literally experimenting with the science of coming back. It was an interesting one because obviously this is more sci-fi than not, but if you are looking for hard magic, this still I think would tickle the right spot. I think it would still do the right thing because it is people who have been experimenting with this and you kind of understand that you die and then you come back and A, there are consequences, but B, there are also things that you can understand a bit more about why you get the powers that you get, that you find out as you go. And it was an interesting time, and the series I actually really enjoyed. It's my favorite V. Schwab books, so I would highly recommend if you're looking for a hard magic system to check these out, even though it's technically sci-fi. Another one that's also technically sci-fi but feels very great for fantasy fans is the Saga of the Exiles by Julian May. Actually, anything in her Galactic Miller universe, I've got them here. This one particularly, this series in particular, and within this series we have people who have what's called meta-psychic abilities, which basically means they can Charles Xavier their way through life. They can talk into people's minds, they can read minds, they can move things with their mind, lots of the brainy magic. Here it's literally meta-psychic abilities, and the rest of the series feels very sci-fi in that sense that, you know, you've got spaceships and you've got intergalactic communities, but the book itself gets actually sent back to Pliocene Earth, so it doesn't have that mega sci-fi setting for the majority of the book. It's only at the beginning of the book that you actually get that, and then the rest of the series is Pliocene Earth. You've got alien species, but you could very much just pretend that they're a fantasy species if sci-fi offends you. But you have these meta-psychic abilities that in this setting feel more like magic than they do a science or an ability. And on top of that, there are confines and there are rules, and there are different skills and abilities that different people will possess and how far they can push it and the consequences of pushing it, etc. So again, not technically fantasy, but enough fantasy in there that I think if you're a fan of hard magic, you would really enjoy this series. And there you have it. Those are the hard magic-ish systems that I can think of that I would recommend to you. This was a hard one. This was a difficult one. I really did struggle with this video. I've been putting it off. This is literally why the magic systems videos stalled, because I just was looking at all of my books. Like, I have no idea. It's not a genre that I read. So if you have any hard magic system fantasies you think I would enjoy, please leave them linked down below, because I am very, very curious about which ones people are recommending. Obviously there's Sanderson. I am working my way through the Cosmere, but anything outside of that, I'd love to know. But that is all from me for today. So thank you ever so much for watching, and I will hopefully catch you in another one soon. Bye!